My birds are being extremely loud today. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's actually kind of relaxing,
And I need
honestly.
him available.
Oops.
They're just putting in their 2 cents.
Other than, yeah, it's relaxing. For me, it is.
Yes, it is.
All right, let's play this.
0017.
Your Honor, for the record, this attorney can on behalf of the state, and for the record, the next of kin and the victim in the 2022 matter are appearing virtually.
All right.
Good morning, Your Honor. Pamela Hicks and Robert Abernathy as advisory counsel for Ms. Daybell.
Go ahead and announce.
Advisor counsel.
Lori Daybell.
All right, thank you. My courtroom assistant said there's some issue with advisory counsel at the table.
I apologize, Your Honor. I didn't think about the logistics, so I'll just let Ms. Daybell.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to ask if I could have my investigator up here at the table, because if I needed to ask him something, then I need him available.
Yeah, any side can designate an investigator to sit with them through the trial and through court proceedings. So that you can have, if you can fit 3 chairs there, that's fine. Otherwise, advisory counsel could scoot her chair behind it, whatever you think is logistically easier.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. I just received word literally 2 minutes ago that we will be using Judge Kemp's courtroom, and we can use it for the entire first trial, which is in the South Court Tower, which will give us more space as needed. Have the parties, I had my staff drop off the proposed questionnaire on your table this morning. I know
you. That was
you
beautiful.
just got it this morning. You may need some time to read through it.
How are you?
That's my proposed questionnaire. Obviously, there's maybe a lot more questions that either side would like to ask the potential jurors in follow-up. So this is not limiting what would be asked ultimately to the jurors. In addition to this, the questions in this questionnaire, when the potential jurors come in, I always go over the burden of proof. I go over credibility of witnesses in a little more detail, especially as it pertains to how people perceive officer testimony.
Okay, sounds good.
And some other areas I'll highlight. So I intend on asking more than just what's in this questionnaire, but this questionnaire is intended to get through some of the bigger issues such as pretrial publicity or opinions people may have had or exposure to the case people may have had, and then it has the questions where we may lose additional jurors on the trial schedule, and then victims of crime, views about police officer, and then if they've been charged or a close family member has been charged with a criminal offense, and to explain that. Any comments from the state?
Judge, in terms of publicity, I think my concern would be that when the jurors come in here and start hearing about the case or hearing testimony about the case, they'll hear the names Tylee and JJ, which obviously were more, there was more publicity about those than about Charles Vallow. And so I think if we really want to ensure that the jury is unbiased and has had no pretrial publicity with regards to the defendant, we're going to have to question them as to their knowledge of her other convictions out of Idaho. That was something that was just incredibly all over the media.
I agree, but I think that may happen in individual voir dire. This initial questionnaire, if they recognize the name Vallow or Daybell and they've been exposed to something in the media about it, they should tell us about what they know about it and about whether they know about that other case and whether they know about anything that happened to.
She asked what Daryl Brooks wanted, which was someone to stand by and, give advice
About it. So I anticipate losing a number of jurors just based on that, but I agree with you. Some may say they've been exposed to it, but it wouldn't affect their ability to be fair. And in individual voir dire, we can explore those options. I don't want to necessarily taint the whole pool by saying, hey, she's got these convictions in this other state.
And Your Honor, I don't propose we talk about the convictions, but we will hear the names JJ and Tylee in this trial.
Not out her mouth,
So,
better not be.
That's my concern, is if we don't raise those names, whether or not
Well-
we put them in the list as people that they may hear.
What I could do is on question 15, where it lists out my name, the court staff, I forgot I need to include your name, the attorney's names, the advisory council's names in there. I'll add those. But at the bottom where it says other potential witnesses, I could do a third or another category
know.
that says
And that's what worries me. That worries me a lot.
other people that may be referenced but are not going to testify unless those names. That's fine.
And she has 2 trials.
Is there any in
still.
addition to those two?
2.
That would be the only for that. I think the other issue is, of course, the defendant's supplemental 15.2 names.
When was that filed? I haven't seen it.
I
I
filed
don't know who
actually 2
doesn't know
motions
about
to
her.
preclude them all, and emailed them to your court Sunday.
Okay, maybe that's in my folder. That's on my desk. Before we
Defense filed that on the 12th of March.
before we get to that, let me ask the defendant. Other comments on the proposed questionnaire and the information that we're going to put in there?
I think it's
What's that?
pretty clear.
Okay, do you have any objection to listing Tylee and JJ because they will be mentioned?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Not by her.
Let me ask the state.
Yeah, Lori.
You have 21 witnesses listed. I need to look at the defense witnesses that were listed. And we're after jury selection. I recognize jury selection could take longer than the initial week that I've set forth, but from April 7th to May 15th, the current screening, that is 20 full days of trial and 2 half days. So essentially 21 days of trial.
I don't think it's going to take that long.
Do you really think we need to screen that far out? I know you're being overly cautious.
I think, especially given that I'm not positive we'll pick a jury in that first week, I think we should, Your Honor.
All right. Defense have any comment on how we're screened through May 15th?
I think it's plenty of time, Your Honor, myself.
All right, let's deal with a couple things. First, I've received the notice of compliance. That was when the defendant requested the Gilbert video. Does that apply to the second case or this case?
Your Honor, it's an incident that occurred in January. It's not really, it was disclosed because it is mentioned in
By choice, Clam. By her own choice.
the DR. The defense had filed a
Her
motion
ex-husband.
for the state to disclose that, and then had brought up again on the 11th that the state had not disclosed it, that there was some YouTube video of that. I have looked for said YouTube video. I have gone through the police report. I
The ex-husband's name is Charles Vallow. Jesus, Michelle. Sorry, Charles Vallow.
don't know what video she's
Isn't that her
discussing,
fifth husband?
but we're not aware of any video that hasn't been disclosed. So I'm just providing notice
What husband?
as to that.
Isn't that like her
Police report
5th
that-
husband? And
Oh
isn't
my
Chad the 6th?
goodness.
And that
I
remind me,
forgot
Vera,
about that.
we need to do a
I
complete
forgot about
revisit
that.
on Charles because there's a lot that we have to figure out. I have questions based on her faith.
Honestly, I would like
That
to
many
do a
husbands?
review. Yeah, I would like to do a refresher because honestly, I've forgotten a lot, to be honest with you, about this case. I remember
Yeah, we
certain
should-
things, but not all.
Maybe the day after tomorrow, because tomorrow I want to do more on Emily Pike. But yeah, I think we should too. And she has another one after this. So this isn't just her last trial.
Okay.
All right. Any comment on that?
Yes, Your Honor. For clarity, is the
Good
state
morning,
proposing
Natasha.
that
How
there
are
is
you?
no video, or that they don't have to give it to me because it's not attached to that DR number?
I think what she said was she's not aware of what video you referenced. So as far as her knowledge, she doesn't have it and doesn't know about it.
So I should go directly to Gilbert Police Department to get it?
Well, last time you were in court, you said your investigator or someone told you about it,
A mitigator.
a mitigator.
Showed it to me.
If they have that link, why don't they just send it to the state, and that may help the state determine if that's something they've already disclosed.
I will tell you why they won't, because that is my former team, and they will not do anything to help my investigator, my paralegal. They won't give us any information that they found. They won't talk to us at all because apparently there was a conflict.
Which we've already renamed her to. Her name is Laren.
So they will not help us. They will not send us anything. They will not email us anything. They will not answer anything that we ask them to. So that has been the response from my former
Hi,
defense
Kat.
team.
How are you?
That's where we are.
Sorry, my pants were stuck under my
All right.
chair.
Do you know, and maybe your advisory councils can speak to this, did they turn over a file to you, or did you have to start from scratch?
No. From
Didn't
what I
you make the
understand,
video?
all they turned over was the 22 terabyte hard drive, and that is it. They didn't turn down any notes, any work product, nothing that.
It'd be interesting to find out if that really is her former team and if they are conspiring against her and keeping her away from stuff.
They had done to that point. And they continue to stand by that today, even though a lot of that information I gave to them,
Okay, so
they
Chad's
would
her
not give it
fifth.
back to me.
Got it. Thank you. Is that normal? 5 husbands?
All right.
I mean,
I'm
based
gonna
on
make
the
an order,
religion.
and it'll be in the minute entry that they
Just something to think about.
turn over a copy of their entire file, including any mitigation information that was gathered to the advisory council. That makes you look like you want to say something.
I don't know.
It's more kind, so in a time like this, feeling can't hurt, right? Oh, no,
But isn't that rare in Mormon religion?
you and Director Van.
Yes, it is.
I was just about to ask Fallon, is that normal with Mormons? I've been
I
watching
mean,
the
no,
show.
it's not normal. Excuse,
All right, so I'll
it's very
do a more
rare.
detailed order about. They
Oh,
should
she
turn
wasn't
over a
always
copy of
Mormon.
the
Okay.
entire file to the advisory council when they withdrew.
No, she didn't. She was Mormon with Charles, but I'm not sure before that.
Okay.
But her religion and the Mormon religion are cuckoo.
Well, let me ask y'all a question because I technically don't know. I remember some of Chad's trial and the book and things like that. Did he kind of morph into his own religion, like cult?
Yes. Yes.
Pretty
Okay.
much, yeah.
That makes sense now.
At like a slower pace, but yeah. Just like Frankie
Sorry.
and Hildebrandt.
He
That's
took
what this
the
reminds me
basis of Mormonism and sprouted his own beliefs
Thank you, Natasha.
and
Had,
blew it out of the water, basically. I mean, between him and Lori, they blew the Mormonism way out of proportion.
That's my opinion too, Glam. And guys, we're not talking over them. They're doing paperwork, so that's why we're taking this opportunity to talk, because they're not talking and they're doing paperwork. Just so you
well,
know.
I'm gonna ask a question real quick.
Mhm.
Have y'all been watching the ABC special of The Secret Life of Mormon Wives? The only experience I have with anything more Mormon is with Fallon and this show that I've been watching on ABC. I guess they're famous here on TikTok for like Mom Talk or something, and they got this reality show.
That's Mormon
And
faith, and as a whole is famous for that.
I've never
I've
seen
been
that.
watching it on ABC, and I gotta say, it's kind of addictive because I am learning so much, but I also see how they'll outcast somebody if they get a
Right.
divorce.
So,
They call them all type of names and stuff, and they basically outcast them.
There's this one that's on Hulu, and it was them trying to escape their father so he didn't marry them off at young ages to other people. I cannot remember the name of it, but if you remind me to look later, I will. Maybe we should start watching that to prepare for this too.
It's good, I'm telling you. I'm like totally addicted to it. It comes on Mondays after The Bachelor, and I did not know they lived their lives
Yes.
like that.
That's what it's called, what Glam said. Thank you, Glam.
Mm-hmm. They are out of control. Thank you, Tina. She's been watching it too. I'm telling you, it's
Good
good. It's
morning.
addictive.
Wait, so is the one
But
you
I
were
didn't
watching is the
know-
one that she just named? Because that's the one that I used to watch.
No, this one is called The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and it comes on Mondays after The Bachelor. I'm like totally addicted to it. I didn't know a lot about it. The only thing I really knew was from Fallon. But this one has been like opening my eyes up to what the religion is like, because they do talk about it. Like they can't have alcohol, but they have these dirty sodas and all types of other stuff. It's really neat, and it shows you kind of into their beliefs and their culture, but they're kind of like mean girls at the same time. Like they got fake lips and fake eyelashes and other jobs done to their body, and they're like big houses, and I don't know. It's addictive. I'm learning a lot from it, but I don't like how they treat divorced women.
That's the one I just brought up, Amy. I had seen that, and it was their father was, I can't remember which one it was, but it's like the highest prominent figure in their religion that they were trying to escape
What
from.
what is FLDS compared to LDS, Glam?
There's two different Mormon churches. There is the reorganized church, and then there's the original church. I belong to the original church.
Wait, are you
And-
talking about Warren Jeffs?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
That's the escaping polygamy. They were trying to escape from him.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch that. And that's who you did belong to?
No, I belong to the original LDS church.
Okay.
Let me see what he can say now. Let's see if he's going to rule in her favor. Yes, he is.
read the defendant's
As he should be.
disclosures that were filed March 6th
Hi,
and March
Susan.
12th, as well as the state's motion to approve. And, well, let me start. Have you received any response from the defense, anyone from the defense team since you filed this on March 16th?
How are you?
Your Honor, last night at 10:30 or so, defendant's investigator sent over a list of the addresses of the witnesses. I did speak with him this morning. I still am unclear if defense will be setting up those interviews or if they will be providing phone numbers to the state to set them up ourselves. As for the expert, again, last night at like 10:30 at night, defense investigator emailed the state and indicated that the defense expert would need to or wanted to obtain the physical laptops and cell phones that the police had impounded so that he could then review them, do his own sub-right or extractions. So obviously the expert hasn't even begun work, let alone.
Got it. Thank you.
They've also requested all impounded items from law enforcement. I'm unclear if they're asking for ones that were impounded in Idaho as part of their investigation, or just the ones here. The statements from the investigator appears to be all of them, which would mean the state would have to request Idaho to send those to the investigator. So again, given all of those issues, I don't see how that it would be possible for the state to provide that to the expert prior to this trial beginning, let alone to get a report or an opinion prior to this trial beginning.
All right, let's set aside Dworkin
Another
for the
possible
time
delay.
being. So you are, well, let me ask the investigator. What's your name, sir?
Jeff.
Jeff what?
White.
Okay, Mr. White, are you going to be setting up interviews for the state to interview whatever potential witnesses the defendants noticed?
I'm trying to verify, excuse me, sir. I'm trying to verify the phone numbers to be correct. I do have a few of them, but some of them I'm trying to make sure that these are the correct numbers.
Okay.
I did the searches for them, and I have to apologize. I left yesterday, and for some odd reason, my email just did not go through. So,
Your Honor, my understanding is that the state has interviewed every single person on my witness list previously. That's where I got the people from the interviews that they had from the state previously. So I understand that they're allowed to do another interview of them, but they have interviews of every single person that is on my list, with
Calm down, Laren. Calm down.
the exception of one,
Which is who?
which is Nate Eaton.
Okay. When you say the state's done the interview, do you mean police or someone from the?
You guys know who Nate Eaton is, right? He's a reporter for Idaho News. That's who she's going after
To
with this.
say no, I don't know who that is or
Yeah,
what he
he's
did.
the reporter. He's the one that covered Idaho. And that's who she... Okay. Interesting.
Prosecutor's office.
Yes, she is by choice, but
In
she has
discovery, I have
her there.
interviews with police on every single one of the witnesses that are on my list.
Okay.
The live was just a little bit ago. It was live. We were running a little bit behind. So we are catching up.
So I know that they had their addresses. I know that we were trying to get the
It sure
addresses to
is.
them in the quickest way possible. And where I am at the jail, the communication is very difficult for me to get a hold of my investigator, to get a hold of my paralegal. I'm 23 hours a day locked down.
Mhm.
If I don't have Wi-Fi, I don't have a phone. If I don't have battery, I don't have a phone. I don't have access to get to people. So I understand the time constraints, and we're doing the best that we can of getting things answered,
You got to remember, Lori's got places to be.
getting things put together.
So as a threshold question,
Threshold, take me to the...
your assertion is that all these people that you've listed in your notices have relevant information for trial?
Correct.
And do you know if the police have interviewed these?
We've renamed her Glam. Her name is now Laren because she's a Karen, but we have our own Karen. So she got the L part and the rest of it, she's Laren now.
People?
Your Honor, the
They may be
first
referenced.
listed person is a reporter. So I'm not really sure the relevance of a reporter.
He's the only one that hasn't been. So that's what I stated.
Hey, Jules.
So, Your Honor, the point is to start with, one, these people, I'm not sure all of them actually have been interviewed. Those that have would have been interviewed 5 years ago. So whether or not their addresses are correct, unclear. It's not the state's responsibility for the defendant to do the defendant's work and find these people. I have an absolute right to do interviews just as the defendant does. So in terms of the witnesses, I think that most of them, as best I can guess, would be character evidence, which would...
Who?
I got nicknames for everybody. I'm talking about Amy. I
Oh,
call
yeah,
her
she's
my
on the
poops.
phone.
Oh, okay.
be improper under 405. So depending on what they say, then I need to file motions to preclude or motions in limine for any or all of these witnesses.
All right, so
I would love to know what a reporter has to do with a murder case. Why she is making this so prevalent and important.
What about the couch?
You see? Read that, Sam.
Premature to address these today. The state's going to have to interview them and find out if, in their opinion, they have relevant information or not. And then if there's a dispute as to whether or not they'd be called, I'll have to deal with that as it comes up.
Don't get mad, but it's kind of sans. That's what when I think of you, I think sans is just a short way. That's in my brain though. Nobody else knew that, but now everybody does.
But if they're unable to be located
You too, yeah.
or interviewed,
Me too.
obviously
That's
they
what I call her
won't be
too.
called at trial.
In my head anyways.
Mr. Dworkin, if you want him to do extractions, you're not ready for trial. So in order for him to do the work that he's requesting, getting copies of a laptop or a cell phone or whatever the case may be, that's going to take him time to extract and analyze and then prepare a report. Months, maybe.
I understand that, Your Honor, and I'm hoping he can do it in an expedited manner. I requested him from OPDS on January 14th. He got approved on March 7th
Calm down, Laren.
from OPDS.
You're the one pressing for your speedy trial. So
Right?
you kind of
Thank
have
you.
to make a decision on, we're set for trial. You want to go to trial or you want to have him do that work that you want? Because I don't think both are going to happen. Even if you got the laptops today, generally those types of things can take weeks, even months to analyze and prepare a report on.
Beggars can't be choosers.
I understand that, and I also understand that I've only been given 10 hours for him from OPDS, right? So if he could spend 10 hours this week getting them ready, then he can give us a report with the best that he can do.
Well, the report's already late technically, but if it were allowed, first of all, it's going to take time to coordinate him getting let's start here. Specifically, what are you requesting? Because the state wasn't clear whether you were requesting items here impounded by a particular police department or items that may be impounded in Idaho.
Well, I'm sure that my investigator would like to have all of those things done. And
Thank you for subscribing, Tina. Welcome to the family. There's lots of stickers that you could use now.
I realize that we're on a time constraint, and I would be only concerned with one item, which is at Chandler Police Department, which was Charles, my husband's phone. Charles Fallow's phone.
Your ex-husband, ma'am.
And I would like a copy of the extraction that they took from it. The digital forensic extraction from Chandler Police could be given to him immediately. That would be very helpful.
Wasn't that already disclosed?
Thank you for the
Yes,
follow.
Your Honor.
Was that part of the
Fruit and
initial
slip. Yeah, I'm thinking so
terabyte?
too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
When you go to comment,
Everything that I have is on the
There's a
22
star.
terabyte. So if
Hard drive.
hard drive, so if I give that away,
no.
I can't do my work.
Well, can't you make copies of files out?
22 terabyte.
No, she wasn't her own lawyer the first time. She was finally found competent to be, and she pushed for it. Now she's pushing for her right of a speedy trial, but she wants something that takes a long-ass time to do, and she wants it to instantly be done. It doesn't work like that, ma'am.
Right. I understand that.
Okay.
So what's your proposal?
I'll take it up.
I
You didn't find
mean,
the stickers yet? It's the little star. You Sam, you have the star, right?
have
Fallon?
all that information in a file. I'm not saying you have to copy the whole 22 terabytes, but there's a file in there somewhere that's the Cellbrite extraction already for that requested item that's been in defense possession for however long now.
I got my powered by bitch dust.
So,
bitch dust.
I'm happy to
one.
make an order, but again, if he's not done with that information you want, are you still wanting to proceed to trial at the end of this month?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
You say it, so it
I would
must be
have to
so.
believe that depending on what Mr. Dworkin says,
Well,
that would put
it could
this,
still be precluded because depending on what his opinion is, first of all,
Me
it's
too. I'm
late.
glad we're back to it.
under the rules of evidence and rules of disclosure. And secondly, depending on what he says, the state would have to have an opportunity to consult with an expert as well.
Thank you for the follow, Lisa.
So even if he got something done, it could still be precluded, but I'll give him the opportunity to do whatever it is that you think
So-
he needs to do to analyze that. But that information's been in defense possession for months, if not over a year.
More than a year, Your Honor.
And you're the
he was
one that
just
didn't
approved
do
by
it.
OPDS last week, Your Honor.
I thought you said he was approved. You applied in January.
I applied for him in January and last Friday, he got approved.
Again, this is one of those things where you have to weigh your options on whether it's worth it to get a continuance so you can have your defense do the work that you want done on your defense. But if you're telling me you don't want to do that,
I would like to do that, but my situation in my housing department precludes me from doing that.
from asking,
Ma'am, by housing, I think you mean prison. Just saying. Enjoy your lunch, babe.
for a continuance,
No, from getting things done in an effective and quick manner.
all right, well, so you're telling me you don't want a continuance because any information he has at this point could be precluded as being untimely.
She's just like Saren. Which Saren, when we say Saren, that means Sarah Boone. She specifically called it her dorm room. And I get that other people did too. But from her, we call her Saren because we have our own Karen. You see her right down there. So, and she's not a Karen. So that's what Sarah Boone became. And now that's why Lori's nickname is Laren.
I understand that is the rule, and I understand how unfair and prejudicial that would be to me.
Okay.
I'm not going to have anybody else up until this is over, guys, because I don't want to have to keep pausing.
So I guess I'm gonna have to cross the bridge on whether these notice defense witnesses are even able to be located and interviewed before I make a decision on whether they have relevant information. And can be
How is
called to
Nate
trial.
Eaton
Obviously,
a
I know
witness
we
for
have
her?
a little over a week to try to interview these people, so
I
I will
understand.
file something at the end of next week indicating who I've been able to reach and interview and ask to include everyone else.
All right.
And also obviously ask to include them regardless, based upon what they may say.
I need cashews. Like, I need my cashew fix for going into this trial. I'm gonna be nervous
Right.
crazy because she's just
What else do we need to
that
address
girl,
today then?
you know? Do
And
not
the
like
only
this
other
woman.
motion that we did not address last week was the state 609 motion. I presume the defendant will likely testify, so I didn't know if we wanted to address that now.
Are you prepared to address that now?
No.
I generally will.
Murder.
I
Actually, let
guess
me
I'll
double check
advise the
that.
defendant now that
I
if
wanna
you
get
choose
the
to
official
testify,
terms.
it's likely that the jury would hear about the convictions. But at your request, they could be sanitized, meaning that they would only hear about the fact that you have convictions as opposed to what the nature of the conviction are, but that would be up to you whether you want that information out or not. And then the jury would receive a limiting instruction that the existence of those convictions is only to be used for the purposes of determining credibility. So you should be aware of that one.
Rhonda, I'm right there with you, but I have to wait till tomorrow to get me some cashews. So, again, if anybody wants an endorsement deal and your company is cashews, give me a call. Now, she's being tried on conspiracy to commit first-degree murder for her ex-husband, Charles. And I found something really interesting here. On February of 2019, Lori reportedly informed Charles that she no longer cared about him or JJ. Remind me to go back to that, will you?
Now I have a quick question.
Mhm.
Wasn't Chad also charged and convicted on the same exact charges? Did he
DP.
do all of his at once?
He's not charged for Charles. He was for
Oh, I thought he was.
Tammy, Tylee, and JJ. And he has DP.
So
She
is
was-
it just her for Charles,
never got
or
it.
is it him too?
Just her.
Oh, okay, I get it now.
Her, and it would have been her brother, but he's deceased now.
Mm.
I'm gonna need to find a more healthier substitute for cashews, but until then, it's cashews.
When you make a decision on whether you want to testify or not. Oh, if you do want to testify, it will be question and answer, meaning you need to write out all your questions that you want to be asked.
Hold the hell on. Are we seriously considering her sitting in the witness box, having questions for herself? So she gets up, runs out, faces the witness box, asks the questions to herself, then runs back to the witness box, sit back down, and answers the question that she just asked herself? What?
That's exactly what I was just thinking. Why am I getting Daryl and Saren vibes at the same exact time?
I am too. I'm right there with you.
This is going to be a hot mess that I cannot miss.
And I think that's what she wants. Thank you for the follow, Tracy. How the hell is she? He said you got to submit your questions ahead of time so you know what you're going to ask yourself. Huh?
So you can practice your
That
answers.
slipped out. I didn't mean for that to slip out. Sorry, on the
And
F-bomb,
have one of
sorry.
your advisory councils ask those questions to you when you're on
Me
the witness
too.
stand.
Right.
Okay, so you can't take the witness stand and just give a narrative. It'll be question and answer.
So am I supposed to reply to the 609? Is that what you're saying? And ask for it to be sanitized if I want that?
We can talk about that when we actually have a 609 hearing, but yeah, you can make that request orally. You don't have to do a written response. I indicated last time for your opening statement and closing argument and questioning witnesses that you'll pretty much be limited to the podium. We'll be in a different courtroom apparently for trial, but it'll be set up very similarly. Either your investigator or one of your advisory councils will approach witnesses with exhibits if you have to show a witness an exhibit. So I'll have to do the same limitations on the state. The state would be confined pretty much to the area of.
Is anybody else again noticing his eyes drooping? Like, I wonder if he had a little before work.
The podium, and the state would have someone assist in approaching witnesses with exhibits and that sort of thing. All right.
I have some motions that I'd like to file. I've had a really hard time getting,
Essentially.
my paralegal
Copies
is
for the
very
state.
busy. I don't have copies.
All right, we'll make copies and give them to the state, and then we'll file them, and depending on what they are, I'll rule on them as the response and replies come in, or we may have to address them.
Who says they haven't already? I mean, this is her second trial, and she's got one more after this.
Depending on what they are. So plan on that questionnaire going out. I think we said
I believe that's her
I
cousin's
think we said
husband in
next
charge.
Thursday, the 20th, will be sent out to potential jurors for the first batch of jurors, and then the responses would be cut off on the 26th.
Judge is going to be sent out Monday the 24th and will end on Monday the 27th.
All right. And then I'll meet with the parties on the 31st to go over those remote responses. So that'll be the 31st at 10:30 a.m.
I don't know
Then
what
again,
happened, but
I'll
that
just
distracted
reiterate
the hell out of
on
me.
April 1. Are we having we're not having walk-ins, Izzy, until the 1st?
April Fool's Day is when the trial starts, literally.
Okay, and then on the 1st, we will meet again, and for the rest of that week, we'll likely be meeting at 10:30 and continuing with jury selection every day until we get enough jurors. Hopefully we get enough.
I think we should watch jury selection too. Anybody else?
Yes.
Because this is with her driving the ship, if you will. Thank you for extending your subscription. I appreciate you. I mean, it's Lori. It's Lori.
Up the first week. If we have to, we'll go into the second week.
But what if Lori's planning to play a big April Fool's joke on the world? And never mind. I'm just trying to put myself in the Lori mindset because I don't even know how to do that, but she's, in my opinion, batshit crazy.
That's hitting it lightly.
I know that I'd given you a date that I was gonna need to be dark on. I'm gonna put out there, since I obviously don't know when we will get the jury picked. I do have some witnesses that are flying in, so I may have some days where I
We
may
do
need
too.
to end a little early or whatnot to try to accommodate some witness schedules.
I'm gonna need to
But I'll
make some
keep
Lori
the court
stickers.
updated once we get a jury picked.
I think we'll have a good idea by about day 2 of jury selection,
Thank you for sending that subscription.
whether we're gonna need to go into the next week or not. That reminds me though, is I would like the parties to plan on, we're gonna have a much better idea after about the second week of trial and the first trial, how the second trial will unfold as far as how many jurors we might need, but I would like the parties to plan on doing another remote questionnaire with a much larger pool for the second trial.
If I do it on YouTube at the same time as well, then you can. But what we're going to be watching, I could just give you the links to every day. I'll just send me the, after each day, ask me for the link, and I'll give you the link to the exact day that we watched. The commentary, though, I mean, we got some pretty good commentary up here. We might have to do a live on YouTube as well at the same time. Yeah, we might have to. We'll think about that.
And meeting on Friday, May 30th. I'm just giving you a heads up as far as this is concerned. And then
I know you can also post highlights to the live, and I mean, it would take a while to download them because we're talking like we go sometimes almost 12 hours in court. So we'll figure it out. We'll think of something. We'll figure it out. I know because I mean, I'm a pretty funny person, and you know, I'll be here all week.
for scheduling purposes, so everyone knows, I'm planning on probably going Monday through Friday of the week of June 2nd, as well as Monday through Friday the week of June 9th, to try to get as much done as we can. And then there's going to be some dark days there toward the end of
It's
June.
not Swiper first.
But we need to get it done by July 4th.
When are you planning on starting that trial?
So
Second.
jury selection would be the starting May 30th.
May 30th for the second trial for jury selection. 5:30.
All right, anything else from the state for today?
20 days between.
If you want to stick around, we'll get you copies of those motions.
I do. Your Honor, I guess the only other thing is, for the questionnaire, are we going to put in the defendant's 15.2 witness list?
It's the same name. The YouTube is the same name. It's Michelle's Criminal Musings. And the link is also in my bio.
I'll put in those names preliminarily. It doesn't hurt, just in case anyone is called from that list. And if anyone knows any of those people, I will put that in actually. Anything else from the defense?
So I'm unclear on where we stand with the video that I requested.
The state says they don't know what video you're talking about. They've disclosed everything they have. So I'm going to make an order to your prior team to give you whatever that is. If you have a link in that information, you can forward it to the state so the state can see if that's something they've already disclosed or if that's something Gilbert didn't give them, or on the other hand, since it was told to you secondhand or showed you secondhand, whether it's something different than what you thought it was. I don't know. So I'll make an order that they hand over all those things to you, so maybe you can figure that out. But at this point, the state says they've disclosed everything that they have and everything that they're aware of.
And in that order, they'll give it to my advisory council, or
Who do you want me to? I was going to say give it to your advisory council. Do you want a more narrowed order? Maybe any mitigation work that was collected, or Or do you want a broad order that's basically everything in their possession?
Well, it'd be nice if they could turn over everything in their possession that we worked on.
I was just thinking it would be easier for you maybe to find that needle in a haystack if it was a more narrow order.
Well, she knows what the link is and she could just give it to us, and we asked for her to do that, and
What's that?
the attorney said, no, she can't do that. She can't give you any.
What's that mitigator's name?
My mitigator's name? Pamela.
On your prior.
Pamela Kearney.
Isn't that Pamela?
How do you spell Kearney?
Cerny.
Must not be.
All right, I'll make
She's
a
not spelling her
specific
name.
Reference to that.
And do we need an order, Your Honor, to pick up my husband's phone at Chandler Police so that Bonnie can do the extraction?
Well, you already have
Laren, which husband are we talking about now?
that extraction in your discovery. What's the state's position on Lonnie Dworkin meeting someone at, you said Chandler, right? Chandler
Yes, at
Police
Chandler
Department
Police
to do another extraction.
Your Honor,
She's got a little attitude too.
obviously the state and defense have always had stipulations so that should something happen to the device while it's in the possession of Mr. Dworkin, that there are now no issues with chain of custody or anything else. So the state would have to draw up a release, have that scheduled on who it's going to be picking it up, have the defendant sign that release indicating that she understands that should anything happen to that she waives those rights to claim those things. So
I think what I was asking was, does Mr. Dworkin have the ability to just do the extraction on site?
on site where? At Chandler?
At Chandler.
I don't think the police departments allow anyone to go in there and conduct their work in the police department.
Okay. All right.
There's
so
going to
to
be a
maintain-
clash with their two personalities, Lori's and the prosecutor. A big one.
In the chain of custody, the state can draw up an agreement, and if the defendant signs that agreement, then Mr. Dworkin could pick up that phone.
That's perfect. Logistically, how's that gonna happen?
Right,
She's
Nikki?
going to forward that to your investigator, and I guess he'll have to come down and have you sign it.
Okay.
All right. Your recess.
Recess? He does. And he even looks it, honestly. She got me confused. I'm not gonna lie, she has me confused. It'll be interesting to see Nate Eaton's reaction to the news tonight that he was brought up in Lori's courtroom. So what is our next date then? I know we had... Karen, did you put down the date when jury selection starts? Let me get these dates. May 30th? Okay, thank you. Okay, so she's facing trial in Arizona for 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder. She is accused of planning the death of her previous husband, which she twice called him her husband, meaning currently, when her husband is on DP row for unaliving her 2 children and his own wife. This says the trial's beginning on March 31st. I don't know why they would say that, because they clearly just said in the courtroom. Maybe it just hasn't been updated. So her next court date is the 30th. You guys think that the guy's going to make the deadline? I don't think so. She sure is awful saucy up in there, wasn't she? She was last time too. Her attitude, it's not going to work well with that prosecutor, I'm telling you. Let's see if we got any updates really quick. The only update, no, it's the same. Nothing's changed on that. Tens of millions of Americans are under red flag warnings for fire danger. Why do you think she's so sassy? Yeah, he showed her that her and Chad are going to get out, and then they're going to be the gods and goddesses of the world, and kumbaya, and she's best friends with Chad's first wife that was unalived. They're best of friends. She forgives her. She loves her. I'm sorry, but I cannot believe a word out of her mouth. No. And her children are going to be back, and everything's going to be perfect, and they're going to be good. And you got to wonder, though, does she really think that, like, does she really see that and think that, like, what is there in here that's causing that? Those delusions? What is it? But she was found competent to stand trial and to be her own attorney.
She's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Thank you, Sandra. That's awesome. We don't often get the good results.
Me, she is in a world of her own, but that's just my opinion.
She really is.
I'm kind of excited, and I hate to say it that way, but I'm kind of excited to see her represent herself. I want to see how this goes, but I really do hope that she gets approved for makeup, because I hope she does it like she did when she was on ABC.
Haley says,
Right?
I would have found her competent
can't
just so I could
wait.
watch her burn. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you there. Yeah, not disagreeing with that at all. Oh, wait. Well, my question is, remember that promise we made? We all have a pact, and that pact is if we ever see each other's eyebrows and they ever look like Lori's did on that special we watched, that we let each other know before everybody sees it like that. Don't forget, we all pinky swore we have made this promise pact to each other.
Absolutely, because those jailhouse brows was something else.
How does she get her hair like that? I don't understand that. Does she take old toilet paper rolls and roll her hair like that overnight? You do what you gotta do, but how? I don't get it.
They may have cut her sheets up into little rags and tied it up like that, too.
I wish she would really lose the red lipstick. The dodo glazed brow. Yeah, no, we couldn't. Wait, did we? No, cameras weren't allowed in, right?
Yeah.
Did we watch that one live?
I don't know if we did, but I did.
Let me see.
I know we watched Chad's, but no, hers was not. No, there was no video. It was all taped.
That's what I thought. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
The only time it was videoed was when she was sentenced.
Yeah. And she's been pushing for that to happen again. No cameras. No.